So many women build their identity around what they're doing or their goals or their productivity. Then when they achieve that thing, they suddenly feel lost. Like, if I'm not chasing something, who even am I? Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're diving into something I see people struggle with all the time. In fact, it may be the single biggest mistake people make when it comes to creating their goals. And today I'm going to tell you how to fix it. So we all set goals, right? New Year's resolutions, 5-year plans, business targets, fitness objectives. We are a goal-setting society. But here's what I've noticed after years of coaching and mentoring ambitious, Jesus-loving women. It's not about lacking discipline or motivation. The biggest mistake is this: treating your goals like a destination rather than a pathway to transformation. Let me explain. When we focus exclusively on the end result, the number on the scale, the revenue target, the book deal, the perfect family photo, we miss the entire point of goal setting, which is to become the person capable of achieving those things. Now, let's talk science for a second, because your brain is doing things behind the scenes that you need to know about if you want to hit your goals. First, announcing your goals publicly. People would think that that would be a great thing. It would motivate us, but it turns out it can actually backfire. Studies show that when you tell the world what you're planning to do and people cheer you on just for saying it, your brain gets a hit of dopamine and experiences something called premature completeness. So basically, you feel accomplished before you've even done anything. Second, the whole just visualize the success thing, it's not so helpful either. Research says that simply imagining a perfect outcome actually decreases motivation. What works better is called mental contrasting, imagining your goal and the obstacles. Because when your brain sees the dream and the detour signs, it prepares to actually work for it. If you're just thinking about how great it's going to be, your brain isn't ready for the hard work it's going to take to get there. It's why when I'm coaching my clients, we always go through what challenges could come her way so that we can see danger in advance. We make a plan to address it and overcome it so nothing takes her by surprise and takes her out. Most of my clients we meet every week or every other week, and we always talk through what are the challenges that you're going to face in the next week or the next 2 weeks, because we need to be thinking about this is what could happen. If this happens, it's very likely to happen. This is how I'll address it. It keeps her strong. It keeps her on target. It keeps her protected from getting taken out. And let's not forget the fresh start effect. You know how Mondays, birthdays, and New Year's Day feel like magic motivation? That's a real thing. But studies show the boost fades fast, so don't rely on the date to do the heavy lifting. The bottom line, your brain loves novelty, but it thrives on clarity. These patterns matter. We need to use them wisely. Okay, I want to talk to you about one of my clients, Sarah. She was fixated originally on growing her business to 6 figures. Every coaching call, she'd say, but how do I get to 6 figures faster? She was so focused on that number that she was blind to all the transformation that was already happening. She was becoming more confident. She was building systems. She was learning to delegate. But none of that felt valuable to her because she couldn't check the box next to 6 figures in her, goal list, right? That's what happens when we treat goals like destinations instead of journeys. We miss the fact that the real reward isn't just the result. It's who we're becoming in the process. Sarah did achieve that goal, but she could have achieved that goal without making herself miserable in the process and enjoying who she was becoming in the process. Now, if you've ever tried juggling 7 goals at once and then ended up watching TikTok in your bathrobe at 3 p.m., you're not alone. Having too many goals actually reduces your chance of achieving any of them. So the sweet spot, according to science, is 1 to 3 big goals. That's it. We need to give our brains a break. We need to understand that it's a journey, and the journey is good. You see, when we approach goals as merely check boxes to complete, 3 problems show up, and they show up loud. The first problem is the arrival fallacy. That's the belief that once you hit the goal, you'll finally feel good about yourself, that you'll feel peaceful and happy and complete. But research says otherwise. You lose the weight, you hit the revenue target, or you buy the house, and after a brief celebration, you're right back to where you started emotionally. And cue the awkward, is this it moment, right? We've all been there. Number 2, we skip growth. The point of running a marathon isn't just crossing the finish line. It's becoming the kind of woman who trains in the rain, who sticks to a plan, who learns how to overcome the voice that says quit, and maybe also the person who learns they should never, ever wear brand new socks on race day. I know that from one of my girlfriends. No, I am not a marathon runner. Absolutely not. The other problem is we hit an identity crisis when we go about our goals this way. So many women build their identity around what they're doing or their goals or their productivity. Then when they achieve that thing, they suddenly feel lost. Like, if I'm not chasing something, who even am I? I mean, besides the woman who alphabetizes the spice rack for fun, she would hate to see my spice rack. We weren't made to chase goals to prove our worth. We were made to grow through them, to stretch into who God created us to be. So before we get deep into the fix, let me ask you something and be honest. Have you ever set a goal, worked hard for it, maybe even got close, and then just stopped? Not because you didn't care, but because you quietly gave up. Or maybe you've started the same goal 5 times, or in my case, 15 times, and you're starting to believe you're the problem. You're not. You just haven't been taught what actually works, and that ends today. Let's talk about what actually transforms you, not just spiritually, but neurologically. And here's the thing. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. They seem small, even invisible at first, but day after day, they add up. Just like investing a little bit day after day builds wealth. So what you do repeatedly isn't just shaping your day, it's shaping your destiny. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Now we hear that verse and we think, yes, amen. But we rarely stop to ask, what does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning when your to-do list is choking you and you forgot what your goal even was, right? This is where scripture meets science. Because modern brain science tells us that your habits, what you repeatedly do, literally rewire your brain. We've talked about neuroplasticity a lot. We talk about it a lot because it's a concept that we do want to think about in our day-to-day life. You don't just wake up one day as a confident, peaceful, disciplined person. You train your brain into becoming that person through repetition and consistency and identity-based action. Let me break this down. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you choose to speak kindly to yourself, when you write that email that you've been putting off, when you do the workout or you show up with courage, that is a vote for your future self. Your brain has something called the default mode network. It kicks in when you're not actively thinking. And guess what it runs on? Your identity. Who you believe you are, what you believe is possible for you. So if your goal is to stop procrastinating, but deep down inside you see yourself as someone who's always behind, always overwhelmed, you're going to keep living out that identity, even if you've bought the planner, listened to the podcast, and made a color-coded calendar. Now, why is this? Because your brain always circles back to what feels familiar, even if it's dysfunctional. And that's why this isn't about motivation. This is about retraining your brain to live from a renewed mind. Let's say you want to stop people pleasing. You don't just read a book and suddenly stop caring what people think. You become someone who practices hard conversations. You become someone who pauses before saying yes. You become someone who can feel uncomfortable without caving. Now, you also probably become someone who takes very deep breaths in awkward meetings. That is what transformation actually looks like. And here's something that doesn't get said enough. Your body is part of this transformation too. If you've been living in chronic stress, burnout, or emotional overload, your nervous system is still trying to protect you. That's why rest matters. Breath work matters. Sleep matters. Because as the book title says, the body keeps the score. And you can't build a new mindset if your body is still bracing for the worst. This is spiritual and physical. Your nervous system has to feel safe to allow for growth. Now, it's not glamorous, it's not Instagrammable, but it's where the change actually happens. And listen, transformation is always God's goal. He doesn't care if you have a color-coded gold spreadsheet. He cares that you're becoming more like Christ, more courageous, more compassionate, and more whole. So when you're frustrated that that goal isn't happening fast enough, remember, God's not stalling. He is stretching you. He's building grit. He's building faith. He's building a woman who doesn't crumble under pressure. And maybe even laughs during the stretching because, well, what choice do we even have in a stretching season? This is the secret that nobody talks about. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That's why flashy resolutions don't stick, but small, faithful systems do. You don't need a new goal. You need a new pattern, a new habit, a new rhythm that matches who you say you are becoming. Let me give you a phrase to hang on to. This isn't something I'm trying to achieve. This is someone I'm learning to be. And guess what? Sarah, who I told you about before, she really did get there, but not in the way she expected. She used to wake up with this anxious pit in her stomach thinking, why haven't I made it yet? What am I doing wrong? She thought she needed a magic strategy, but what she really needed was to become someone who took herself seriously even before the success showed up. She got honest about what was working. She stopped obsessing over what wasn't working, and she traded perfectionism for progress. She started writing down her goals and her why every single week. Remember, journaling is so important. She narrowed it down to just 2 things: show up and serve well. That was it. And slowly, something shifted. Her calendar changed, her habits changed, her tone in meetings changed, and her confidence grew. She did hit those 6 figures, just like I said, but by then it wasn't even the big win. That wasn't even what she felt like changed her life. The real victory is that she liked who she became in the process. She felt calm. She felt clear and capable, no longer chasing, just creating from a place of alignment. And Sarah's story isn't rare. This is why I coach. I want to help women break the glass ceiling and then break the ceilings that they put on themselves. This is what happens when you stop chasing outcomes and you start practicing identity. And if Sarah can do it and my other clients can do it, you can do it too. But here's the hard truth that most people don't want to say out loud. If you don't make this shift, if you keep setting surface level goals without becoming someone new, you'll be in the same place this time next year. It's why coaching is so important. It's why for me to change in my life, I hire coaches. It's why my clients hire me, because there is so much involved that is different than just having a goal and having the facts of what to do. I don't want you to be in the same place next year. It's why I'm giving you kind of this insider podcast to give you this information so you won't be. I don't want you still overwhelmed, still wondering why things aren't clicking, still trying to out-hustle a broken system. Because the truth is, you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you just haven't rewired your identity yet. So here's your challenge. Write down one goal and then ask yourself, who do I need to become to reach it? And what's one small thing I can do today, even if it's awkward, even if it's tiny? I want you to do it right then, because action creates clarity, and clarity builds momentum. So let's break down into steps you can actually take this week, okay? Step 1, pick one identity, not 5 outcomes. So the question is, what kind of woman are you becoming? Write it down in one sentence. I'm becoming a woman who. Fill that in for you, and then let that guide your decisions. Step 2, create a system, not a wish. Goals without systems are just daydreams. If your goal is to grow spiritually, your system might be reading one psalm each morning and journaling one takeaway, right? A system, not just a wish. Step 3, act like her now. How does your future self walk into a room? How does she start her day? How does she handle stress? I want you to practice being her now in micro moments. And step 4, make it ridiculously easy. Set the bar so low that it is laughable. Read one paragraph in your book. Write one sentence. Do one push-up. Consistency beats intensity every time. I'm going to say it again in case you were distracted in that last moment. Consistency beats intensity every time. Final step, step 5. Track your becoming not just your progress. Keep a Who I'm Becoming journal. Celebrate when you act with courage, with boundaries, and with faith. That is what really matters. This is how it begins. And through it all, don't forget, you're not doing this alone. God is with you in every small act of faithfulness. You were never meant to strive your way into transformation. You were meant to walk with Him through it. So invite Him into the process. Pray over your goals. Ask for wisdom. Trust that the same God who gave you the desire to grow is also giving you the strength to become. You're not just building a better version of yourself. You're becoming more like the person God already sees in you, and He calls her good. Now, here's something I want to prepare you for. Even when you do all of this right, when you build systems and show up consistently and begin to see results, you might still feel a little disoriented. That's because of something called identity lag. Identity lag is the gap between who you used to be and who you actually are now. Your external life has grown, but your internal identity hasn't caught up yet. And that can make you question your own success. But don't panic. It's normal. The transformation will catch up. Sometimes when success starts coming, we even sabotage it without realizing it, and that's called the upper limit problem. It's when your nervous system interprets more joy, more progress, more peace as a threat. So you pull back, or you stir up drama, or you shut down, not because you're broken, but because your body thinks it's protecting you. This is where the real work of growth happens, learning to hold the good without fear. That's why this journey isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming safe with success. And when it gets hard, you don't need confidence. You need courage. Confidence comes after you act. Courage shows up first. And if you're thinking, okay, Allie, I get it, but where do I even begin? Start with this. Act like the woman you want to become. Not next year, not when you feel ready, today, in the small things. Because she is not waiting on the other side of your goal. She's built in the process of showing up. You fall to the level of your systems, right? That's why flashy resolutions don't stick, but small, faithful systems do. You need a new pattern, a new habit, a new rhythm that matches who you say you're becoming. Okay, now, recommendation? I need you to watch the show Hacks. I've told you about it before. Now, it is rated R. It has language. It is not to watch with the kids, but we are adults. We can discuss it. It has Jean Smart, who I've once fell in love with in the 1980s as my favorite sitcom star. She is even better in Hacks. I love seeing a woman in her 70s headline a show. Hello, that's amazing. Hacks is sharp and hilarious and way deeper than it has any right to be for a comedy. It's about Jean Smart, who's a legendary stand-up comic, and a young writer, and they're forced to work together. And what starts as this total clash of worlds becomes this wild, beautiful story of ambition and reinvention and unexpected friendship. If you love smart women and complex characters and dry humor with heart, Hacks could be your next obsession. Season 4 is currently on right now, and I love it so much. So if you don't mind a little language, you're going to love Hacks. Now, always, I am so grateful that you're here. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for investing in you, because your spiritual health, your emotional well-being, and your personal growth, it's not just about you. It's about everybody in your life. And this episode, in my humble opinion, I'm a little biased. This is one of those episodes that can really change your life. To understand the reason why you haven't hit your goals before and you're not where you want to be, it's not because you're undisciplined. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because of your identity needs to shift. You need to see yourself as the woman that God's calling you to be. That's an amazing shift for you. I really want you to pray into this. Because when I say you're stronger than you think, you're smarter than you give yourself credit for, and you're braver than you feel in the hard moments, I mean that. Sometimes we just don't recognize it yet because it's not part of our identity. I believe you are capable of incredible things because the Spirit of God lives in you. Those dreams in your heart, they're not there by accident. God placed them there, and He will give you what you need to achieve them. Thank you for letting me coach you. Thank you for letting me cheer you on. And thank you for letting me remind you that with God, you have what it takes. So keep stepping up, keep showing up and loving well, because you know the truth. You can't break a woman who gets her strength from God. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. My car is covered in 3 pounds of pollen. Ooh. Blah, blah, sorry.